But first, a special report on how growing numbers of young people in Germany are turning to the far right. With immigration a key issue in the forthcoming national election, polling suggests the far-right Alternative for Germany party, the AfD, is on course for its strongest ever result. Alarmingly, its racist and divisive policies have struck a chord with some of the 2 million young people who will be able to vote for the first time later this month. Ahead of the vote, ITV News reporter George Hankorn travelled to Germany to find out what's behind the rise of the right and heard from those who now fear for their safety.
I've come to the city of Potsdam, where one of the AfD's largest pre-election events is taking place. Here, hundreds are gathering to openly show their support for the AfD, something that would have seemed unimaginable in a country scarred by its past. Backing the far right is no longer taboo.
Aufgrund der migrationspolitischen Themen, also das ist für mich sehr wichtig, dass man zum Beispiel auch in den Nachrichten andauernd sieht, die ganzen Terrorangriffe und alles. Es muss ein Ende haben.
Außerdem geht es ja auch primär darum, die Ausländer rauszuschicken, die kriminell sind, die sich hier nicht integrieren wollen.
Ich meine, für einen Auszubildenden bin ich ein gut verdienter Auszubildender, aber ich kann mir keine Wohnung leisten, weil die Migrationspolitik da im Weg steht.
So how is the party's messaging cutting through? Videos from the AfD reach 3 times more people than any of the other political parties combined on social media, something their strategist says is down to their authentic feel.
To have an impact, you can't just be a regular politician who talks about politics. You cannot just post your parliamentary speeches and, you know, talk about the economy or whatever. You need to be a real world person, someone from the streets.
Music is also a big way to reach young voters. This 90s techno track has been adopted by the far right, but it's not the only music to do so. Cavalier's 22. His music's been removed from some streaming services for hate speech after mocking migrants and the LGBT+ community. But they've still racked up millions of views.
Düsi is the name of the remigration plane. Go into the plane and then goodbye. Okay. We don't need you here. Yes.
What, this is about deportation, essentially?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay. Do you understand some people might be upset if they're gay or they're from a migrant community about some of the things that you discuss?
Gay community or like left-wing community, they are always anti to everything what we do. Because we don't have anything common. I don't think this.
Not all young people have decided who they're backing. This is the centre of Berlin, where a stretch of the Berlin Wall once cut the capital in half. I'm catching up with Simon, a German TikTok influencer, and his mates. What sort of issues do you care about? What things are important to you at the moment?
Most, if not all, young people feel that if you don't inherit the wealth of your, filthy rich parents, then you're probably not gonna ever have the chance to buy an apartment or something.
Okay.
The AfD is coming to them and they're saying, I'm your middle finger. Mm-hmm. Vote for me, and I'm sticking the finger to all of them. Mm-hmm. And I can totally understand why someone would feel like that.
But this content is also having a real-life impact. I'm heading 200 miles south to Erfurt, the capital city of the German state of Thüringen. It's always been a right-wing stronghold. After all, it's where the Nazis first entered regional power in 1929. Then, a few years later, Adolf Hitler staged a mass rally here, attended by 75,000 people. Azra, Kim and Helene are second-generation immigrants who are watching the place they call home become more hostile.
I came to Erfurt with my family and we just went shopping and we were talking in Turkish to each other and someone behind us said, Ausländer. And this is something which I still, which is still in my head. I'm not foreign here. Even if I maybe look that way.
Right now in the election, we have people on the top who are praising to taking away the citizenship of people. And the last time that we saw it was in 1933.
When you hear words like remigration used, when you hear politicians on the right talk about immigrants in ways that, you know, a lot of people would find upsetting, how does that make you feel when you I don't know, you're on TikTok, you're on social media, you see these sorts of videos, you hear people use these words?
It's making me sad that the politicians nowadays are mainly focused on this topic, migration, like as if we would not have any other problems. This is our home, like we were born here, we lived a big part or almost our whole life here, and I don't know, like, why should I leave my home, or where should I go?
Whatever the results of this election, it's unlikely to bring an end to the current political division across the country, with young people on both sides determined to fight for their future. And with populism on the rise around the world, many will be watching Germany closely to see how successful the AfD could really be.
George, there's some really powerful interviews in this, and you spent a week in Germany speaking to young people, and you've heard firsthand about their growing interest in the far right.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really interesting week. Obviously, some shocking stuff that we heard in there. The big thing that comes up if you're pro-AfD is migration. You heard some of the people speaking there. But there are a lot of shared views, whether you're on the left or the right. So the economy, housing, kind of feeling left behind by the mainstream political class, I guess. And that's kind of where the AfD have swooped in. So they might be the newest party in Germany. They were formed in 2013, but they're the oldest when it comes to TikTok. They've been on there longer than any of the other parties. So if you look at their videos get 3 times more views than any of the other parties combined. So it'll be very interesting to see what cuts through and how young people vote ultimately in next week's election.
Okay, George, thanks very much. Well, you can watch George's full report right now on ITVX.